Meditation questions. One of the questions that comes up a lot about meditation is how long should I sit? How long is enough? So I thought I'd talk about that for a few minutes, and I think there's a couple of different ways to come at it. When that question comes up, I think it can mean how long should I sit in a session? How long should I sit in my life? And then in between, some related questions about what should I be doing while I'm sitting. And I want to get rid of some of those questions, or at least position them so that they are useful to think about rather than problems to get over. So the first question, how long should I sit? So let's say it's the morning, you've woken up, you've made some tea, you've fed the animals, and now you're back upstairs. And there's the cushion and a timer. You wonder how long to set the timer for. Here's what I think is the most important thing to remember about how long you should meditate. The objective of meditation practice can be achieved in a single moment. And in fact, the objective of the meditation practice is the single moment. It is full, open awareness of the characteristics and attributes of that moment. Now, I've talked before about the difference between concentration practice and insight practice, Tantra, Sutra, Dzogchen. All of those are different things to be doing or not doing in the moment. Concentration practice is the careful application of mindfulness on a single object, set a goal to focus on that object. Insight meditation is more along the lines of understanding the nature of that object and understanding the nature of the thoughts that arise. So they're different, but at its core, it is an understanding of the phenomena of the moment. So when you say, how long should I meditate? Well, look, it's not how long should you meditate. That's not a useful framing of the question. The question is, what is this moment? And what do I need to do in order to be able to come to grips with the phenomena of that moment? So, for example, one way to help come to grips with the phenomena of the moment is to take an oath. And I don't mean an oath of celibacy or sobriety or an oath to say 1,000 prayers a day for the rest of your life. I mean the oath to sit on a cushion in a particular pose for a particular amount of time. That time should be the time it is. Now, you probably think, am I being tautological? Am I avoiding the question? Am I deflecting it? No. You should pick a time where you can be comfortable and focused. As the practice stabilizes, that time will become longer. Now, is there benefit to sitting with full awareness of many, many moments in a row? Yes. But the goal is to sit comfortably with awareness of one moment. And there's a balance. If I say I'm going to sit for 45 minutes in a decent pose without moving, watching my breath, paying attention, it's like any physical act. That I may not be able to do that. I may simply be unable because of the stresses in my body or the adjustments of my spine or anything to do with the physiological capability of my body in the moment. It is much better to say, I will sit for 3 minutes in this pose, and in those 3 minutes I will pay attention to each moment as it arises, or I will concentrate on this object. And so the oath of the time to sit should take into account your capacity today to practice. Because remember, the objective isn't to sit for 45 minutes. The objective is to sit for 1 moment. And if you sit for 3 minutes, and then at 3 minutes and 5 seconds, your knee is exploding, well, okay, so this is one of those corollary questions that's very useful. What do you do with discomfort? Now, this is my take on this, and of course, different teachers and different practitioners will have different things to say. This is absolutely a reflection of where I'm at in my practice. I believe that discomfort is an experience of the moment that should be assimilated and understood. Particularly if I'm practicing insight meditation in that session. If I'm practicing concentration, discomfort in my hips or my legs is a distraction from the object of meditation, and so it should be discarded, because that's the oath that I took for that practice. But I also feel that at a certain point, discomfort or distraction should be recognized as the phenomena of the moment. There's different antidotes that we've been taught about for dealing with lethargy or distraction or lack of confidence, the things that prevent us from practicing. And I really do believe that at a certain point, the inherent distraction of the moment, the best antidote is to stop practicing. Get up, take a walk, drink some more coffee, drink less coffee, maybe that's causing the distraction. And then come back. Or don't come back. Come back the next morning. Do you see what I'm saying? Like there's a point of self-awareness where, is this a distraction or a discomfort that I am capable of assimilating and accommodating? Or is it simply too much? A few days ago, I think the last time I put one of these meditation notes out, I was so distracted. It was maybe the first or second day of the new work from home remote in the office. A lot of different things going on. I was anxious about everything. And I recognized within about 5 minutes that all I was going to do while I was sitting was worry about work. There was nothing that I was capable of doing to position that anxiety anywhere except front and center. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't going to be able to sit with it. I was simply anxious and distracted. And so I stopped. And I think that that's an honest decision to make. Now, but it's like everything. It's a balance, because I do often say, oh, my knee hurts, I'm going to just stretch for a moment. When what I really should say is, I'm approaching a point of relationship to my ego and to the moment that is uncomfortable, because it suggests that the things I think are real, think are stable, are actually fleeting and ephemeral. And one of the ways that my mind tricks me, and I know this, is that before a true stabilization, my knee feels like it's going to break. It's not going to break. I know it's not going to break. It's one of the signs I have that I'm actually settling in. And if I can make it through that, then there's this cycle, this virtuous cycle of physical well-being, physical bliss, and mental stability. So how long to sit? Sit for as long as you said you were going to sit, I think, is the key answer there, right? And set a goal that is achievable, because you have to be physically comfortable in order for the mind to settle. And when the mind settles, it feeds back in and the body becomes a bit more confident, a bit more comfortable and confident. So what's the benefit of sitting for 90 minutes? Why do day-long sessions? Why do people do that? Well, that's a different answer to the question of how long to sit, because there are stages, like a glass of water that settles. a glass of water filled with particles and dust and dirt, as it stays motionless, that settles. And it will continue to settle. Everything I've said to this point reveals the stability of my practice, the degree of stability, right? And it's probably pretty apparent that my glass of water is still churning away with particles and hasn't stopped spinning and hasn't let all of the bits and pieces sink down to the bottom. It may be there's no longer a straw, a swizzle stick in there spinning it around, right? Maybe it's gotten to that point, so I'm aware of the motion, but there's still plenty of motion there. To practice that takes time. Now, as that becomes stable, it takes less time. Back to the first idea that it's the moment that matters. As the stability of practice improves, the ability to enter into that stable moment quicker and perhaps leave it less often increases. So I know when I talk about this, it sounds very athletic, doesn't it? It sounds very effort-based, and it is. I think this is another question that's related to the question about how long should I sit. There is real focus and effort required in meditation. We use language about relaxation and focus and bliss and spontaneity and leaving things as they are. Those are all true statements, but the necessity of effort, particularly, where I'm at, where most of us are at in our practice, is extremely important. Effort, but not stress. You see, there's balance, right? And stress would be saying, I'm going to sit for 45 minutes, regardless of what happens, regardless of how my body feels or how negative my mind is, and my inability to sit with that negativity. That's stress. Focus is, I'm going to sit for 90 seconds, and in those 90 seconds, I'm going to count my breath, or I'm going to watch this mantra, or I'm going to listen, I'm going to scan my body and see what the experiences that are actually happening right now for 90 seconds. That's much more valuable than setting a timer and then sitting for longer and longer. Sit for 90 seconds with some stability, and then sit for 2 minutes with some stability, and we realize that stability is really an entry to a further point of stability. Right. And then keep doing it. Is there ever a time to stop practice? I don't know. I've read the same texts that you have that say that at a certain point meditation and practice is discarded, that the practice itself is let go and things simply are as they are. But that's really, I think, I can't leave things as they are. I know that when I'm sitting, I have my karma and my obscurations and my delusions and my fantasies are influencing my perception of things. So just sitting and not meditating, or not meditating, not being aware of those, isn't leaving things as they are. It's just trapped in delusion. So there you go. Sit and sit for a minute. Sitting for 1 minute is better than not sitting. And sitting for 1 minute is probably better than sitting for 20. Sit for one breath. Very good. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, send me an email, zenglop@zenglop.net. I'd love to hear from you if you have questions about meditation or anything else you've heard on the podcast. You can also try Twitter, where I'm at Zenglop. But Twitter is weird to me, so email's better. Anyway, cheers.